Give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president not gave me any deadline.
Right here, it was Monday morning. This is the 20th day of January 2024. Like joke, this is where we are. Some person said January was going to try. But then, this is 28th. And that is why it's fair. I know every one of you is ready to hit the road for the day, meet your target for the day, meet your target for the month. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course, I'm not here alone. My colleague is right here, and we will be driving the morning show together. It is Global Morning on Global Television. Jumai is right here. It's good to have you right here this morning. Jumai, good morning.
Good morning, Ramsey Enoch Agbo. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful Monday morning, like you have said. It is the 20th of January 2025. And hello, everyone. I'm Jumai Manson.
Well, Jumai, just like a joke, we are getting very close to the end of the month. But then, I don't think anything has really changed. It's just like some people are saying, well, the Christmas just come and go. It's something that you can't stop anymore. So let it just come, irrespective of whatever it is that is happening, whether or not the economy is challenging. Let it come. We'll do the celebration like we always said. Do the celebration the way you want to do it and get ahead. And it's actually so good that since yesterday, Donald Trump arrived Washington, getting ready for his original swearing-in ceremony, which is going to be happening just a few hours from now. Because of the time difference, 2 hours from now, he's going to be sworn in. And of course, the world is waiting
and watching.
Africa is watching. What's going to happen? A lot of policies. You remember his last administration, so many things happened. I know some persons already are getting set for whatever it is that is going to come. But then I think Donald Trump's administration may be coming with a lot of surprises, not just for African, but for the globe. We're talking about the United States here, and you know how powerful the United States is. So people, Nigerians, Africans, people from all the world, the Israelis, the Palestinians, the Russians, the Ukrainians, everyone is really watching to see what will happen after the swearing in and moving away from the United States, coming back home. It's been a moment of disaster for so many people. These are things that nobody would ever want to wish his enemy.
Yeah, of course.
Because life is involved right here, and that's the explosion that happened in Niger State. This is one too many, and lives have been lost. A lot of media houses reporting different
numbers. Yes, exactly.
But as it is above 50 right now.
Number of
lives that have been lost already, and we'll be looking at it. As a matter of fact, we'll have two major conversations on Global Morning today, where we'll look at what's happening from the United States expectation of the world as far as the swearing in of Donald Trump is concerned. Then we'll also look at this explosion. And for how long are we going to continue like this?
It's just a very sad incident that happened in Niger State. Speculations are saying 70 people have lost their lives. Some are saying 77, but of course we just range it at above 50 persons have been confirmed. Above have been confirmed dead. It's just unfortunate that we keep going back and forth with explosions. If it's not in Niger State, it's somewhere in Lagos, it's somewhere. How far will we go? And how that awareness needs to be created at any time there is a tanker explosion. People should stay far away from it. Most people just go there to take as much fuel as they can, because we know where this goes. Of course, with the hike in electricity tab, a lot of people have generators and they want to fuel it up and all of that. But it's just unfortunate that this is where we find ourselves in Nigeria. Just it's a really, really sad news that broke out in the course of the weekend. It's just unfortunate that it had to happen this way.
Well, it's such an unfortunate incident. Now, the issue of insecurity in the country is still taking toll.
Yes, it is.
So much is still happening. We still heard that some bandits, I don't know what to call them right now, terrorists went into a church, and I think the prophet was killed also. That was yesterday, and so many other insecurity issues in Nigeria. You can travel to the south because they have their own going on right there. You can travel to the north. You can travel to the west. One very amazing and I don't know, should I say, it's surprising for these people to gradually, move into almost all the states in the country right now. I'm trying to think of a state that is free of security, insecurity, I beg your pardon, because if it is not banditry,
it's
it will be
kidnapping.
If it's not kidnapping, it is terrorism.
Abduction.
So some abduction and so many things happening.
Just to add a few to what you've just said, at the beginning when this whole thing started, everyone says, oh, it's just the north, it doesn't concern us in the south or east. No, it's just the north. But now it has actually spread. And it concerns each and every one of us. The roads are not safe anymore. Don't talk about how bad the roads are. It takes you like how many days to get to a particular point, or the time or hours in which you spend to get to from Abuja to Lagos. People stay as like the whole day. The roads are bad. And then to top it up, we have insecurity. It's just unfortunate that this is where we are in this country, but hopefully we hope it gets better. Fingers crossed. Everyone is praying it gets better, but unfortunately this is where we are. If, like you said, they have theirs. It's in the northern parts. We're going through a lot when it comes to insurgency. When it comes to the east, the same. When it comes to the west, the same thing. It's everywhere. When we say that, it's because of the economy in which we find ourselves that we are at this point that is getting bad, or will I say getting worse by the day?
Well, it's getting worse by the day, but then the challenging economy shouldn't be an excuse because everyone is facing the heat. By the time you kidnap someone and you're asking for ransom, where's the money going to come from? Everyone is facing the challenge, as a matter of fact. The money is nowhere except in the hands of just few. A pocket few have the money, as the case may be. I don't know who they are, but then I know some persons have it. But as it is right now, the challenging economy shouldn't be an excuse why anyone should go into crime.
No.
Because crime is crime.
It doesn't pay.
As a matter of fact, you can't tell the authorities that I did this because
I was
the
hungry.
economy is challenging, I was hungry. There are better ways to go about all these situations. Then let's get to talk a little bit about fuel price. This is one thing you can't stop talking about as far as Nigeria is concerned, because like a joke, this is where we are. Nigerians are getting used to it, and by the time someone is like trying to say, hey, come on, I'm excited because there is a reduction. Before you know, another message is coming that
There's an increase.
there is an increase. And you begin to tie it to something that doesn't even concern Nigerians. Well, you begin to tell Nigerians that, well, the price of crude at the parallel market is affecting everything down here. Nigerians would want to say, hey, come on, what happened to the crude that we have here? Don't we have Dangote refinery running? The increment is even coming, first of all, from the Dangote refineries
Exactly.
to NNPCL. But now that we have the Dangote refineries and, of course, Port Harcourt refinery and Warri refineries running minimally, I think Nigerians should at least be able to buy this product at an affordable price.
Yeah,
Some persons were saying maybe they should reduce it to 500, even if it is not getting to 500, increasing it. Okay, it wouldn't be too good for Nigerians, but because by the time you just make them feel, oh wow, it's exciting that the price of the commodity fuel PMS has reduced, even if it is by 5%, it's going to go a long way. But the increase is what Nigerians wouldn't want to hear. You know why?
Why?
Because it's really going to translate into other things. Apart from the fact that Nigerians must have to commute from one location to the other,
True.
move products from one location to the other, it will also affect the price of goods and services.
Definitely.
And that is what affects the average Nigerian.
Of course.
So I think the authorities need to do something about this. Nigerians are in fact, the hands of Nigerians are tied because sometimes you wouldn't even know what to do.
You know what, Ramsey? You know, I've always said it's not all about the hike in fuel where we get whether it's increase or decrease is good once there is a decrease in the commodity, but an increase affects everyone. There is no exception. Everyone is affected, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, it doesn't matter. As long as, like you mentioned, I can commute, the farmer can commute his goods from, it takes fuel to run that. And he's not going to do it, it's not water, so it's not going to come cheap. And of course, the wholesaler that goes to buy this particular commodity, manufacturers who have to depend on these, on the commodity when it has to do with fuel, when it comes to manufacturing, because you can't depend on NLPCL. No, you cannot. So that is where we found ourselves. It's going to affect each and every one of us, whether big, small, medium class. It doesn't matter at all. But it's just unfortunate. And I hope something is done as soon as possible. But this is where we are. I won't tell you how much I bought fuel for a litre yesterday. I won't even mention right now.
You don't even need to mention it because Nigerians already know. And one thing about this fuel hike is the fact that you get a liter. Let's say, for instance, you get 10 liters, and what you get in the real sense, what I pay for and what I got,
two different things.
Two different things.
Two different
because there is an allegation. It's allegedly being said that these meters are being adjusted.
Exactly. I showed you something. We had a project we were working on, and in the car, someone sent a video which was live. One prominent filling station in Nigeria, and the guy, the attendant, was actually pumping in air into his car.
How do they do this?
And the man said he wanted to buy 35,000 naira fuel because he already had fuel in his tank already. So he was supposed to fill up the tank. And the man said he just decided to come out of the car and just decided to watch the meter. And his gauge did not move. And he was like, what is going on here? 35,000 naira and my gauge did not move. What is going on? And the attendant was like, no, he was trying to say, okay, fine, no problem. Put in 32,000 naira and his fuel was already filled up because he already had fuel. And he was like, what are you people doing here? Why would you cheat me, in his own words? Well, and most people do that. I have fallen into that sort of thing before. You know, when you're nice to attendants and they see you, oh, hi, ma'am, and it distracted me. And that was what the attendant did in a very prominent filling station. I will tell you that for free. And I looked at my gauge. It didn't move. So they had to do the distraction, and then they know what they do. It's just unfortunate that why would you cheat that we were all going through all of this together?
If not that man was smart enough.
Very smart.
Say, oh, my gauge is bad. My gauge didn't move.
No, his gauge is not bad.
They said, but
they have their ways.
I think
adjusting
the
them.
authorities needs to do something about
Please.
this. We have the regulatory bodies that go about. We have the task force that go about checking these filling stations.
But how often? How often?
What are they even checking?
Exactly. How often do they do these checks?
Sometimes they even come, they see as the case may be, and nothing is being done. But then, this is our country right here. This is Nigeria. We are all working towards how we can grow this nation, how we can build Nigeria, how we can put Nigeria on the global map. And that's an assignment we can transcend to others. Everyone have a role to play in nation building. And these are the little things. If you want to talk about corruption, some people feel, well, it is just people in governance, okay, government officials that are allegedly corrupt, as some Nigerians believe. But then, what about the man at the filling station, the fuel attendant?
Exactly.
Who is cheating people who come to buy fuel? What about that woman selling something in the market and will have to exchange what the plate she's using, Zimbudu they call it, that she's using to make sure something,
The scale,
you just change it, or you press it inside, or you even double the tin. These are little things that must be corrected. Nigeria is our nation, and we are all working towards building the nation.
Just to add to what you just said, Ramsey, I know for as much as the economy is really biting hard, and a lot of individuals are finding it really, really hard, I want you to understand that don't make it more difficult. Don't make it more difficult. Try and make it more subtle. It's very important that you understand that we are all one in this country, and we should try as much as possible. So by extorting from me will not make you richer than how you are. But unfortunately, like I mentioned before, that the economy is really biting hard, and a lot of individuals are not finding it easy. So the easy way out is not what you're doing by being very manipulative and by being thinking you're smart at what you're doing by cheating individuals. No, you are not. So just try as much as possible. Let's be hopeful, Ramsey. Let's be hopeful.
Let's be hopeful. I love Nigerians.
And I love Nigeria.
See, if you want to talk about being hopeful, that is one of our skills. I think the second name of Nigerians are hopeful people, optimistic people.
Yes, we are.
That's why the president will keep saying there will be light at the end of the tunnel. All right. Let's go on a quick break. Remember that we will be bringing you to speed with the national dailies. You need to know what's happening. What are the national dailies saying? What are the headlines on the Nigerian newspaper for this morning? Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll look at the pages of the newspapers. Do stay with us.
Right, you're welcome back, and it's Global Morning on Global Television, and at about this time is a newspaper review. We're going to be going through some news making round, and we'll start with the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian newspaper, it's below the nameplate of the Guardian newspaper. It says, posers over check balances as federal government enforces cancel autonomy funding. And you can find that read on page 6. Of course, that's the star story there of the Guardian newspaper. And below that it says, Yoruba Ronu Indume, CDWR resist tax reform bills. And you can find that news on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Gunmen assassinate cleric during church service in Ogun. And unfortunate incident there, but you can get more informed and find that read on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. And here in the Guardian it says Dangote explains PMX ex depot price. That's on page 8. Solido unveils Anambra Homeland Security Law new outfit. And on page 8 there. And it says Telcom subscribers kick as Minister defends tariff hike. You can find that read on page 5. And Africa's economy at crossroads as Trump's second coming stalks uncertainty. On page 6 there you find that read to get more informed on what that news is all about. And here below the foot of the Guardian it says procurement contract frauds account for 90% of Nigerians' corruption cases. And that read on page 9 of the Guardian newspaper. Go out and get yourself a copy and stay well informed. Ramsey, you'll be kicking off with the next paper.
All right, let's quickly look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning and see what we have right there. Above the nameplate, LP crisis, that's the kicker. We are heading to Supreme Court. Then Nadi Usman is the one saying that the crisis in these different parties is not yet over. Abure has been declared the chairman of Labour Party by the court. But then, what is the unifying factor in Labour Party right now? If you look at it, it's not just in Labour Party. You get into PDP. You can see that the national working, and that's what it is. So 2027, a lot of uncertainties. I think 2027 is so pregnant. Let's see what is going to give birth to. More stories from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Rising international price of crude forces hike in petrol price. Right, like I was saying during the introduction, that the price of crude at the international market has actually affected the price of PMS back at home in Nigeria here. Some writers to that story. OPEC predicts rise in oil demand, prices, and of course refineries. Marketers to shift burden to consumers. The second writer says as Dangote refinery attributes new ex-depot price to surge in crude prices. Details you can actually find on page 5. All right, this one say Badnoch attack Nigerian again. Badnoch attacks Nigeria again. Says her terrible government destroys lives. Okay, one writer to that story. We are saddened by her rhetoric. That's presidency reacting to that. Well, I don't want to say much about this because for a Nigerian to be saying so many things, some persons said her statement is being justified looking at the situation in the country. But then, this is a country that everyone is trying so hard to put on the global map. And somebody like Kemi Badnoch saying so many things. Remember the things she said about Nigerians in the past and Nigeria itself. She spoke about the Nigerian police force. She also spoke about the fact that, she doesn't care about Nigeria. That the only thing she cares about is that she belonged to the Yoruba extraction. And so many things. And she was talking about corruption. And that went very wild. A lot of people, the presidency even reacted
the vice president.
The vice president reacted to it. And today, she's saying, she's attacking Nigeria again, saying her terrible government destroyed lives. That's bad. No, and the presidency have reacted to it. You can get details of that on page 26 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, the big story, the star story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, the kicker of the story says, high interest rates. You know where I'm going already. Manufacturers cut back on banks' loan. All right, I don't want to talk about bank this morning because I had an experience lately and it's not something to talk about on national TV as a matter of fact. But then the activities of the financial sector, commercial banks in Nigeria is becoming something else. Loan, well, the topic of loan. Are you
talking about, it's just unfortunate that this is what, it's all business, Ramsey. You have to understand, it's business. If you're going to collect loans, expect that you will, there's interest attached to it. Nothing is free, Ramsey.
Especially those ones that go with collateral.
Exactly.
Hardly you get your collateral back. It's as if the collateral is even a teaser to even... I don't know. By the time there is a collateral involved, you find it difficult to pay such loans. I don't know why. I don't know. Based on research and what people have said.
It just depends on what you actually use the money for. If it's something that's going to yield profit for you to get your collateral back. But yeah, I've really heard that most, when it involves collateral, you hardly get it back, except it's just unfortunate, but this is where we are. So be careful on the loans that you go to take when it comes to banks. You prepare all these other places like these other lenders that I don't want to mention their name. I don't want to give that publicity.
The interest rate is still very high.
Yes,
even
it is.
The other lenders, the bank, and the bank won't even tell you about the hidden charges.
No.
All right, until you get in there.
Or you sign the paper.
There is no need taking. In fact, if you want to take loan, that loan should be used for something very important. Like she said, it should be something that will generate more income.
Profits.
First.
Very important.
More profit that you can pay off the loan and continue with your business. We know that sometimes the environment may not be too conducive for some kinds of businesses, but then before you go get loan for any reason, you need to be careful, because the banks are not smiling.
No, they're not
there for business.
But you know what, for me, I always advise for people who really want to go out to get loans, please be sure, look at your, especially when it comes to collecting a loan for business purpose. Please be sure that that business, look at it, term it from now till 3 years. What's going to happen? Make your research. You have to be very, very sure, because if you can do away without collecting loan from banks, I think that would be great. Where you meet family members, friends, relatives who will be willing to support you. But it gives sleepless nights. Please don't go there.
But sometimes it's funny when I see people go take loan for a business they've not done before. You just want to start a business afresh and you go take loan.
Really?
You don't even know about the business.
I really won't understand.
You just go take loan to start a business.
Careful.
If you're in a business already and you know the nitty-gritty of that business, you can go take loan because you want to change level in that business. But when you're just starting a business that you don't know where it's going to head, then you go take loan.
And don't forget the present day economy where we are right now. So you have to be very sure.
Right, you have to be very sure before you go take loan, because the banks are out for business.
I'm not smiling. Exactly.
All right, this one says Donald Trump arrives Washington, D.C., getting ready for his swearing-in ceremony. This one says MAGA, that's the kicker. What awaits Nigeria? Trump mounts saddle. What awaits Nigeria as Trump mounts saddle? All right, just pick a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and go through it for more details. This one says Serap writes Trump seek return of stolen assets. Well, I trust Sarah. Just one writer to that story. As Desani denies ownership of repatriated $52.8 million loot. One of the things that I keep asking is, all this money repatriated, all this money, all this loot gathered, recovered, what are they being used for? All right, let Nigerians feel it. Let Nigerians feel it. And these looters, they should face the wrath of the law, so that others can at least learn. Okay, this is huge. Sarah writing to Donald Trump or to seek return of stolen assets. That can be done if Donald Trump and the United States authorities want to do it, because a lot of Nigerians, so many Nigerians have taken our money out there, and they are there. We're not talking about those ones that are doing legitimate business here, but then this is Sarah. Let's see how far this is going to go. Onosanya refutes fraud allegations, vow to defend reputation. Details on page 4. CAF CC, that's the kicker. All right, that's CAF Champions League. Eyimba crash in Egypt. I said it. Well, this is sport right here. Eyimba crashing out of the CAF Confederation Cup. Well, they've tried. Easy. This one says, effort ongoing to rescue abducted AIG's wife. That's please saying that. Details on page 10. Then finally from the Vanguard newspaper, federal government probes Niger tanker explosion as death toll hits 86.
Oh, wow.
86 already.
That's a lot.
I'm not talking about people that are injured yet. 86 already dead, according to the report coming from Vanguard here. Well, that's on a sad note. We'll talk more about that during the conversation because it's going to form a part of our conversation on Global Morning today. Over to you, Jumai, for the next paper.
All right, the next paper is the Punch newspaper, giving us some very punchy headlines. And above the main plate, it says, LP crisis, Obi Oti's caretaker panel drags Abure before Supreme Court. And you can find that read on page 6 of the Punch newspaper. Then it says, a mass deportation fear, border closure as Trump returns to White House. And you can find that read on the Punch newspaper. Edo Tribunal, police tighten security as violence rises, and that you can find on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Now, beside the main plate of the Punch, it says, Niger explosion, Tinubu, Buhari, others mourn as death toll hits 86%. Unfortunate there. And of course, the Star Story says NLC faults fresh petrol price hike, says federal government insensitive. And the writer says labor fare hike will fuel food crisis, increase in line with rising crude oil. And that's Dangote. Of course, we know how it plays out. Of course, when there's a rise in fuel, of course, when it comes to food, there's going to be a jump also. Now, Gaza here, UN others cheers, freed Israelis reunite with families. And 89,000 Nigerians decried insurgent visa, Schengen visa in 2 years. Alright, it says 89,000 Nigerians denied Schengen visas in 2 years. Catholic Church suspends Delta priest over secret U.S. wedding. Really?
I saw that and I was wondering,
what's going on?
How could you be married in the United States and you are in
Nigeria? And really,
being a reverend father.
That is so. I don't want to say. He said, "Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm." So let's just see how this plays out. Really, this is serious.
If you want to be a reverend father,
exactly, stick with it.
Stick with it
and be truthful.
Be truthful.
Really,
just be truthful. What? It's a calling. It's a calling that you are married somewhere. Well, that's by the way. Just get on.
Yeah. Alec Air shareholders tackle APCON over 455 billion naira debt claim. And that's it on the Punch newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy of the paper and be informed on the news making rounds. Some very interesting news on the Punch newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy. And the next paper, over to you, Ramsey.
Well, let's get to the Nation's newspaper. This is our nation, and this is Nation's newspaper above the nameplate. The crisis in Labour Party is not over yet. I think this is the third paper talking about the Labour Party. This one says Labour Party leadership crisis shifts to Supreme Court. The leadership crisis now shifts to Supreme Court. It appears the other faction of the Labour Party are not satisfied with the rulings from the court, and now they are moving to the apex court. INEC why upload of 2023 presidential poll result failed. INEC is sorting up. INEC is the kicker. Why upload of 2023 presidential polls results failed? All right, INEC is now telling us that there is actually a failure in that result. I think it's so good that INEC is saying this. Glitch due to system error, which can happen anytime. As a matter of fact, moving away from there, still on the Nation's newspaper, Trump takes over today. Few hours from now, Trump will become the president, right, of the United States, original sworn-in president, duly elected president of the United States. A National Assembly decries steel developments, ministries, phony projects. This one says Fubara, that's the kicker. Why Rivers crisis persists? What's the problem? Why is it persisting? If you want to know why, just pick a copy of the Nation's newspaper and drive straight to page 32. Then the Star Story says Algon, that's the kicker. 774 cancels to open dedicated accounts with CBN. Well, I saw this story, was it on Saturday, and I was excited. About 3 billion will now go straight to the local governments. 774 local governments of the Federation, that's the number of local governments that we have. Now the allocations will be going to them. The federal government said the reason why there was delay is because of documentation. Now I think they are coming out. ALGON is the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria. They are coming out to say the council is open to dedicated accounts with CBN. Well, when the account is open, the money will start flowing. Now, this is one thing. It is one thing for this fund to be released, and it is another thing for this fund to be monitored. Supervision, because the problem we have in this country is not the disbursement of funds.
No.
The funds are coming in on a daily basis.
Yes, it is.
Budgets are being made. Money is being released, but then who is being held accountable, okay, for spending this money? How is it being spent? Who is doing the retirement at the end of the day? That's where the problem is. This money is now going to the local government. Apart from EFCC and ICPC, I even feel a committee should be set up to supervise and monitor how this money is being spent. And it shouldn't be from the state governors, because some state governors are not even happy about the local government autonomy. That's why some of them kicked against it. It's just like somebody that has been your son for a very long time, and you're saying, all right, get your own fund. If you want to go to school, get your fund directly. You don't need to go through the state anymore, whatever you want to do. So some local government chairman not directly getting their funds from the state anymore. So if we say the state should supervise, it may not really go well. So I feel a body should be set up to supervise the process, because where there is no accountability, there is no responsibility.
Very true.
And if you are not responsible and this kind of fund is being given to you, I tell you the truth, we'll begin to hear a story that snakes swallow money and all of that. So this is something that the authorities should look into.
Very important. Very important.
The 774 local governments in the country. This one says how to avert tanker explosion by Tinubu, Sultan, Buhari, all that. All right, how to avert tanker explosion by Tinubu, Sultan, Buhari, and all that. Well, if you want to know how, just pick a copy of the Nation's newspaper to write it to that story. The first one says, President orders comprehensive treatment of Niger survivors. Then the second one says 80 victims buried already. All right, that's on a very sad note. We register our condolence with the family of those that lost their lives in the incident, and the governor is doing so much. I think, well, we'll talk about that. Let me not preempt the conversation. The conversation will be coming proper along the line. Finally, from the Nation's newspaper, 18 transmission transmission towers, I beg your pardon, vandalized in 6 days, say TCN. 18 transmission towers vandalized in 6 days, says TCN. Well, the reason why you're having blackout in some parts of Abuja and some parts of the country is as a result of this. Then you begin to ask questions.
I want to ask this question: what happened to the surveillance?
Exactly.
What happened to all of
the
the
question I wanted to ask.
Like, really? no surveillance. What happened to the cameras? What happened to, individuals who are supposed to be on guard, security guards that are supposed to be there? This is something that is very serious. We keep going back and forth with this issue. No one is coming out to take responsibility. We just hear of all of these things happening in the country, unfortunately so.
Yeah. Well, TCN, to me, this sounds like a story. All right, this sounds like a story.
It is a story. What are you saying?
In just how many days? 18 transmission towers vandalized.
Really?
Vandalized. And TCN is bold enough to say that. So what's your job? What are they doing?
What are they doing?
Come, I don't know. Yes, this is public property. All right. But some Nigerians feel it's government property and they go vandalize it when they are angry. That's what some people do. Because some people feel, you know what happened during protests when people destroy government property.
Yes,
and all of that.
I saw that.
The Nigerians are the ones using these amenities.
Yes, the aftermath goes enough.
So if there is total darkness, everyone will feel the heat. So if you see anyone, all these unscrupulous elements going about vandalizing government properties, report to the authorities, and the authorities should set up surveillance. Okay, there should be security operatives to monitor and guard and supervise whatever that is being done around these transmission towers. And that's going to be the size of the headlines from the Nation's newspaper this morning.
All right, now next is the Nigerian News Direct, and above the nameplate we have alleged 12.3 billion naira fraud. I have not been invited by EFCC, and that's the ex-First Bank Managing Director. And Niger tanker explosion, death toll hits 86 as Tinubu governors, others mourn victims. LFRU partners need to remove Nigeria from FATF grey list by May. Vandals destroy over 18 transmission towers in 5 days, TCN. And here it says PMS price hike. We have observed 50% of cost increase to make Nigerians comfortable, and that's Dangote there. And below the nameplate, it says the star story there is they are not mere Yahoo boys. EFCC raises alarm over arms proliferation, and you can find that read on page 4. And the kicker there says, the writer says, as mixed reactions trail officer's death in Anambra. Unfortunate incident that happened there, but if you want to stay well informed, you have to go get the Nigerian News Direct and flip over to page 4, and you will be well informed on the news making rounds on that particular caption. And over to you, Ramsey, with the Daily Trust.
Well, I think this cry by EFCC, they are not mere Yahoo boys. One of the problems we have, Nigeria, I don't want to say Nigerians are going into crime day by day, but that's what it is. A lot of Nigerians are going into crime on a daily basis, and whatever happens, anything that has to do with cyber crime these days, the only thing you hear from people is Yahoo boys, Yahoo boys. But EFCC is coming to say, well,
they're not mere Yahoo boys.
Yahoo boys, all right? They are raising alarm over arms proliferation, and that's something that should be a thing of concern.
Because just to add to what you're saying, Ramsey, Yahoo boys, that they have their laptops, they're always on their laptops because they have to do the debate when it comes to talking with people. Yahoo boys don't carry arms, so that's why we actually have that particular speculation till they are brought to book, and we're sure that the armed proliferation in which they are accumulated is something else. So let's be sure that these could be robbers, this could be abductors, this could be kidnappers in the guise of Yahoo boys. So that's the main thing. Anytime you're caught, Yahoo boys. And that's why you say they are not just men, because Yahoo boys are not, they are harmful in their right. It's bad, I would say, but they are not as dangerous as these individuals who are kidnappers, abductors, and of course ritualists who go about with dangerous weaponry. So they are sure for them to come out and tell you they are not mere Yahoo boys. That means it's more to it that meets the eye.
I just want to believe that investigation is on.
Of course.
Because I believe in EFCC,
Yes, I do.
ICPC.
I do.
I know they are doing their underground check to make sure these people are brought to book. Just go ahead and do your due diligence, what you're supposed to do. All right, now to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, beginning from the Star story. Reason says $6 billion Mambila Power contract deal. Then the big story says Obasanjo Buhari testify in Paris courts. Right? These are ex-presidents and they are testifying in Paris courts. A tax bill for passage March, presidential committee. The bill. I think we'll still need to talk about the bill, right?
We need to.
We need to talk about the bill because that of TED Fund, a lot of people are reacting to it. I was speaking with someone and the person said, well, the activities of TED Fund has affected the life of so many institutions positively, even individuals.
Even the academics.
The academias. That's what it is.
They've done a lot.
If we're talking about how the educational sector can be boosted, well, every Nigerian, if you ask 2 or 3 persons, they will tell you, well, the educational sector needs more attention. And it's part of what TED Fund is doing.
Yes.
And that fund, is it 1% of petroleum profits coming to TED Fund? I don't know the percentage per se, 1, 2 or something percent. But then, no matter what it is, I think TED Fund is doing so much. So, the tax reform bill, let's see what will happen at the end of the day. But then I think the passage happening in March, it means the instruction of the president. Remember, because of what Nigerians were saying, a committee was set up by the president to review, to do a review of the tax reform. And remember, this tax reform actually came up by a committee set up earlier. They were the ones that came up with this idea, and the president bought into the idea, and a lot of Nigerians were complaining from some parts of the country, especially about the sharing formula. But so good that the governors came out a few days ago to give their full support, all right, to the bill. But now, if it is going to be passed by March, according to presidential committee, then it means everything. The I's have been dotted, the T's have been struck. Let's see how all of that is going to go. A federal government awards Abuja Kaduna Road contract. Hardship, that's the kicker. 70 million Nigerians to get 75,000 naira each. Well, I'll keep saying this. When was the last time census was conducted in Nigeria? All right, I give you that as an assignment. How do we know the people that really need this money? How far can 75,000 naira go looking at the hardship? Because the kicker of this story says hardship, and then it says 70 million Nigerians to get 75,000 naira each. It's good. It's good. It's a welcome development. It's going to go a long way. But then, what will it do? I feel instead of just giving people fish, it's better to teach them how to fish.
Yes.
What if that money gets finished? Then we'll say, oh, at a point, the federal government or the authorities gave 75,000. People will not even remember that anything like that happened.
I just want to add to what you've just said. For as much as this is an amazing initiative, it shows that the government is actually tilting towards the direction of individuals, because there's a lot of hardship that is ongoing in the country. But if you look at the economy presently, what can 75,000 naira do? Billy, you go to the market with about 30,000 naira and you'll be wondering, was I robbed? Did someone steal from me? Because back then, before now, you could actually go with 30,000 naira and you buy a bulk lot of things. But now you'll be wondering, with just a polythene bag, it's not even up to you can hold whatever you, but with 30,000 naira, let's talk more of 75,000 and talk about someone who has a family of 6, who has rents to pay, who has fees to pay, who has a lot. Remember, this is January. A lot of people are going to pay their rent. It's going to be school fees. Food is on the hike now. For as much as this initiative is amazing, it's beautiful, it shows that you have the people at heart. God bless the administration for that. But at the same time, Ramsey, you said something very valid. You said, instead of giving the people fish, why don't you teach them how to fish? It's easier if you actually empower these Nigerians to actually make revenue from that particular amount. It's so that they can actually have returns over and over, so that you will not run back. And that's why if you look at outside the shores of Nigeria, individuals are well empowered. They teach you how to generate for yourself, so you won't have to be going back and forth to the government.
It's possible right here.
Yeah, it's possible. We can. And that is why, if you look at it, Ramsey, critically, we empower the same set of, we give money to the same set of people all the time. The last time you gave this particular money, or you gave this particular revenue, I would say, to these individuals, what did they do with it? Like you said, we do not have a monitoring committee. When you give this sort of monies to individuals, do you go back to see what they've done with it? Do you go back to see whether they just ate the money, or they, with food? And the farmers that you always empower, how far have they gone? The individuals who are into welding, how far have they gone? All of these things, I think people need to be empowered and monitored at the same time, so you know that you are yielding fruits in what you give.
I think NDE needs to do more. National Directorate of Employment. I could remember those days when they moved from state to state, local government to local government, teach people how to do hairdressing, teach people how to weld.
How far have they gone with that?
How far have they gone?
How far? Exactly.
What do you think will happen if you empower 70 million Nigerians?
That's a lot.
All right, with skills. I'm not talking about giving them money. Teach people who want to weld how to weld. People who want to go into fashion designing, teach them how to go into to do fashion designing. Then you look at the tech world. If you really want Nigerians to be on the global map, let's focus on tech for a while. Teach them data analysis. Just teach them cyber security.
Yes.
They should learn it. Then you empower them in that area. You are building the economy of the nation. All right. All the threats that we used to have, all the cyber threats that we used to have, if we have people who are trained, who are experts, cyber security analysts and cyber security experts, won't have those problems.
And then just
so much to learn.
Just to chip in, most of these Yahoo boys are so good at this game that they perform. They are good with the internet, they know how it works. In other developed countries, they will actually absorb these individuals in the system and tell them, okay, fine, stop this. You will do your time, of course. It doesn't go that easy. But if you're supposed to spend like 10 years in prison, because of the skill in which you have, we want to reinforce you in the system. And you serve like 4 years instead of 10 years, but give you something handy to do, work for the betterment of Nigeria. That's what people do. You don't just throw them to the mud just like that. And they serve their time, they come out again, they continue with the same thing because of the economy in which we find ourselves.
The issue of Yahoo boys is doing the right thing the wrong way.
The wrong way.
That's the problem they have.
That's why they will do their time. We should observe them.
Like what was saying, if everybody is trained and you can do remote jobs, you can work for people in Nigeria, work for companies, work for Google and the rest of them, Microsoft, and you're making good money. You wouldn't even think of scamming someone. The Yahoo they talk about is scamming people
from their hard-earned money,
which is
hard-earned, which is really bad.
So all the Yahoo boys out there, you can just do the right thing the right way and be contented with the money you're making, because by the time you're caught, it won't be good. You've got a good skill, use it profitably and contribute to the economy of the nation.
And just to add a few, because this is very sensitive, because there are some individuals who have been scammed from their hard-earned money. The truth is, if you look at it, Nigerians, Africans, especially parents, will tell you, if you get money in a very shady way, it will not last.
It doesn't last.
It doesn't last.
They know.
It doesn't last. And the truth is, you can do right, you can do the right thing, you can actually do something. I don't know, it might be pricking someone's conscience right now. You can actually turn your life around and do better for yourself. There are better things that you can do, and you hold yourself in that dignity that you have actually done this for yourself, instead of being afraid at the next move. Because you cannot have peace of mind, because the police will you cannot have peace of mind. That's not life.
You can't continue running from pillars.
No, you can't.
I think the federal government should concentrate more on digital economy, and of course let's bring the tech world back home, because Nigerians are very talented people. As a matter of fact, we're rounding up. Our time is fast spent. Jonathan, Nigerians, don't japa over hardship. That's Jonathan talking to Nigerians.
Thank you.
Of course, Ajumai, it's time for us to make way for the AN News.
I wanted to ask something to that, but when he said Nigeria, I said thank you. Because most Nigerians have already gone. But some are leaving today. Are you kidding me right now? They're already at the airport.
No. It's just a stone throw from here. Get to the passport office and just see for yourself. Go to the passport office now and see for yourself. Look at what is happening. Go to the embassies and see the queue and see how many people you see there.
For as much as this advice is really good, sir, really, that's a part of it. But the truth is, it's going into one ear and coming out of so many people's ears. But I'm just saying, it's just me. But that's the size of newspaper review. We have to quickly go for the AM news. Keep watching. It's Global Morning on Global Television. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues,
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nicomsat. Now the news in full. Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja to represent Nigeria at the 2025 annual meeting of the World Economic Forum scheduled for Davos, Switzerland. Stanley Okwocha, Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Communications Office of the Vice President, in a statement said Shettima will join world leaders, top business executives and representatives of development partners at the meeting to discuss the state of the world economy with a view to improving its conditions. It stated that while in Davos, the Vice President will hold bilateral meetings with other leaders as well as participate in workshops and forums slated for annual gathering. The federal government has expressed its condolences to the government and people of Niger following Saturday's petrol tanker explosion at Diko Junction in Gurara local government area. Professor Natewe Yelwanda, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, described the incident in a statement as tragic, noting that it claimed many lives and caused extensive property damage. Meanwhile, the death toll from the petrol tanker explosion at Diko Junction, Niger State, has risen to 86, while 55 people were injured and taken to the hospital. The Director General of the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Abdullahi Baba Ara, stated that as of Saturday, the death toll was reported at 70, with 50 injured. However, more corpses have since been recovered and all have been given a mass burial in Diko, Niger State. Nigeria and Egypt have reached an agreement to enhance a diplomatic relationship and establish a comprehensive partnership aimed at addressing shared challenges and fostering development. The announcement was made by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement issued in Abuja by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugger's Special Assistant on Media and Communications Strategy, Al-Qasim Abdul Kadri. The agreement was the outcome of the third round of political consultations held in Cairo between Tugger and his Egyptian counterpart, Badir Adelati. The federal government has denied the claim that it compelled prominent Nigerians to testify in Paris for Nigeria in an ongoing arbitration proceeding involving $6 billion Mambila hydroelectric power project. Special advisor to the President on Information Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, issued the denial in a statement describing the reports as fake news. Multiple reports had earlier claimed that Nigerian government forced former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Muhammadu Buhari, and former Minister of Power Babatunde Fashola to Paris to testify for Nigeria. Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture says the Nigerians' 2024 economic performance was unsatisfactory for the private sector, calling for economic reforms to address imbalances threatening the private sector in the country. The body explained that all data, metrics and statistics had confirmed that the private sector bore fully the negative burdens of the nation's current economic reforms, facing very harsh conditions including high inflation, increased borrowing costs and currency devaluation. Over now to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has stopped an attempt by 26-year-old nursing student Esther Oyeyachi Uzondima to smuggle 76 wraps of cocaine to India. A statement by the agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, says Esther, a 200-level student at Indore International University, Uttar Pradesh, was apprehended at Royal Park Hotel, Sabongeri, Kano, hours before her scheduled Qatar Airways flight to Delhi on 17 January 2025. Police in Ondo State says it has apprehended 3 syndicates, 62-year-old woman Sabira Izora and couple Ishaka Lukman and Abosade Lukman, allegedly specialize in child stealing and trafficking. Wilfred Afolabi, State Commissioner of Police State, said the suspects were arrested after a case of a missing child was reported at Okuta Eleri Nla Division in Akure. Afolabi said 4 babies between 1 week and 2 months old and 10 children between 2 and 7 years were recovered. Over 200 widows of fallen police officers in Imo State have received support from the Police Officers' Wives Association, POA. The initiative, which included the provision of business equipment and food items, aims to help beneficiaries establish small-scale businesses to sustain their families. Our correspondent, Amarachi, has details.
The president of the association and wife of the Inspector General of Police, Elizabeth Ebetokun, led the empowerment program in Owerri, Imo State capital. She highlighted the challenges faced by families of officers who lost their life in active service, calling for greater support for their welfare.
The initiative aims to provide not just financial support, but also skills and resources that will enable these remarkable women to build sustainable livelihoods and secure a brighter future for themselves and their families.
The chairperson of POA in Imo State, Jimaima Aboki, reaffirmed the association's commitment to providing sustainable empowerment for widows.
Back on this important empowerment initiative, let us take a moment and appreciate the unwavering courage and selfless sacrifice embraced by the police officer's wife, particularly the wife of deceased and injured police officers.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed their appreciation for the empowerment program.
I am so happy. I am so very much excited because of today's program, the empowerment. It makes me to feel happy. I am so happy.
I'm a teller. Since all this, I've been working under somebody, but now I thank God. I will start my own.
I am a kunu seller. I used to go out and grind every day 1,000, 1,500, at times 2,000. But now with this my machine, it will help me to save some money to support my husband. Shall I wipe away my tears?
The POA Empowerment Program have provided much needed relief to widows of fallen officers, offering them tools to rebuild their lives and ensure a better future for their families. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Amarachi, for that report. The Medical Women's Association of Nigeria has called for urgent improvements in healthcare infrastructure and equitable distribution of human resources across the country to address critical health issues affecting women. The association made this call during its 5th National Executive Council meeting and scientific conference held over 3 days in Jos Plateau State. In a communique issued at the end of the conference, MWAN highlighted the increasing burden of breast and cervical cancer among women in Nigeria, advocating for timely diagnosis, equitable access to treatment, and expanded HPV vaccination programs. The National Assembly Joint Committee on Agricultural Production Services has reiterated the support for the National Agricultural Development Fund, NADF, as part of its broader strategy to enhance food security in Nigeria. The Executive Secretary and CEO of NADF, Mohammed Ibrahim, said in a statement that the reaffirmation came during the NADF budget defense, where lawmakers pledged to strengthen the fund's effort in boosting the nation's agricultural sector. He noted that the legislators commended the fund for its significant strides in 2024, particularly in facilitating sustainable agricultural development across the country. Over now to the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Polytechnics have announced plans to embark on a 3-day warning strike over what is described as a threat to the career progression of its members. This was contained in a letter sent to the Ministry of Labour alongside the National Board for Technical Education and the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. The letter was signed by the National Secretary of the Union, Nura Gaya. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has restrained the Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC) from arresting vehicles with faded number plates. Justice Akintayo Oluko made the order and also restricted the FRSC from imposing any fine or punishment on any drivers for driving with the faded vehicle plate number. The court made the orders while delivering judgment in a suit filed by legal practitioner Chikwika Chamberlain Ezembube against the court. The Nigerian Immigration Service has issued an alert on the emergence of a new sect, ACHAD Life Mission International, which it says is neither linked to Islam or Christianity, but preaches restoration of African tradition. This is contained in a circular dated 14th January 2025 and signed by the Principal Staff Officer to Comptroller General Dr. Adedotun Aregbe. The service urged all directorates, zones, training institutions, commands, and board informations to take note that the SEC has its headquarters in Kaduna, while its leader, One Yakona, lives in Jos. You are watching the live broadcast of AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. When AM News returns, hidden tunnel on U.S.-Mexico border to be sealed. We shall bring you those details as well as business, foreign, and sports stories right after the break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. On our business desk now, the League of Northern Democrats have rejected the derivation formula proposed in ongoing tax reform discussions, warning that it could deepen regional inequalities if not properly defined. The group commended the Nigerian Governors Forum for endorsing a reverse value-added tax sharing formula of 50% based on equality, 30% on derivation, and 20% on population. The Federation account revenue has been shared to the federal government, state, and the local government councils. A statement by the Director President Public Relations Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Bawo Mokwa, said the revenue was shared at the January Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting in Abuja. The communique indicated that gross revenue of 2.310 trillion naira was available in December 2024, adding that total deduction for costs for collection was 84.780 billion naira, while total transfer interventions and refunds were 801.175 billion naira. Nigerian targets an export market of up to $79 billion through the expansion of its export capacity with the African Continental Free Trade Area Framework. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, said this at a high-level roundtable on the country's implementation of the AFCFTA protocols in Abuja, featuring AFCFTA Secretariat Secretary General Wakele Mene. Oduwole praised Nigeria's participation in the development of AFCFTA and leadership in implementation of the trade agreement. On our foreign scene now, Donald Trump has landed in Washington ahead of his inauguration with a billionaire Republican set to attend a series of events and celebrations before reclaiming the presidency. Trump, who arrived with his wife Melania and other family members at Dulles International Airport, headed to a private event, including a fireworks show at his golf club in Virginia outside Washington. In the meantime, a hidden cross-border tunnel used to smuggle migrants and contrabands between the U.S. and Mexico will be sealed, Mexican border officials have said. Running between Guadalajara in Mexico and El Paso in Texas will sit next to each other on either side of the border. The 300M tunnel was concealed in a storm sewer system and only discovered last week, despite official estimates it took at least a year to build. Investigators are now looking into whether local officials knew of its construction. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the ceasefire scheduled to commence on Sunday by 8:30 a.m. will not take effect unless Hamas provides a list of hostages to be released, with the militant group saying the delay was due to what it called technical reasons. Netanyahu's office said in a statement the Prime Minister instructed his country's defense leadership that the scheduled list of released hostages, as Hamas has committed to providing. A Russian strike has killed 4 people in Ukrainian capital Kyiv. Officials say the strikes in what the country's foreign minister called a heinous attack with ballistic missiles left at least 3 more wounded, while a separate overnight strike on the southern city of Zaporizhzhia wounded 10. Kyiv is frequently targeted by Russian drones and missiles, but deaths are rare in the capital, which is heavily protected by air defense systems and better able to fend off attack than elsewhere in the country. On sports news, Barcelona playmaker Dani Olmo will miss the club's Champions League clash at Benfica on Tuesday after surviving a calf strain. The midfielder is currently eligible to play for Barcelona as Spain's National Sports Council granted a precautionary measure after La Liga refused to renew his temporary playing license at the end of 2024. Now, Lionel Messi got on the score sheet as Inter Miami's opened their preseason campaign with a penalty shutout victory over Mexico's club America in Las Vegas. Argentina superstar Messi headed home in Luis Suarez across from close range after 34 minutes to equalize for the Major League Soccer side after America had taken the lead through Henry Martin moments earlier. And as we end the Global AM News, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. We brought to you that Vice President Kashim Shettima departed Abuja to represent Nigeria at the 2025 annual meeting of the World Economic Forum scheduled for Davos, Switzerland. Nigeria and Egypt have reached an agreement to enhance their diplomatic relationship and establish a comprehensive partnership aimed at addressing shared challenges and fostering development. In business, the League of Northern Democrats have rejected derivation formula proposed in ongoing tax reform discussions, warning that it could deepen regional inequalities if not properly defined. On our foreign scene, a hidden cross-border tunnel used to smuggle migrants and contrabands between U.S. and Mexico will be sealed, Mexican border officials have said. And finally, on sports, Barcelona playmaker Dani Olmo will miss the World's Championship League clash at Benfica on Tuesday after suffering a calf strain. And that's it on Global Television AM News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276, and free to air on ICOMSAT. And kindly follow us across all social media platforms I'm showing on your screen by using at Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good morning.
morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Money aims to deliver news with experts on key global issues, and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Money.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Money.